All right, welcome to the Krueg Show on a Wednesday, March the 25th, about a month ahead of the NFL draft. And one of our favorites in the draft is joining us today, and that's Chandler Martin, the linebacker from Memphis. Chandler, thanks for a few minutes, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Well, dude, I'm a huge fan of your game. Huge fan of your game. And tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Georgia,
Yep.
and eventually found your way to East Tennessee State. But tell us a little bit about growing up in Georgia.
Yeah, just born and raised just east of Atlanta, in DeKalb County, Georgia. My parents were married for 30 years. They met at the UGA. So I was a
Nice.
big Bulldogs fan, big Roquan Smith fan growing up. Um, I'm four or five kids, so I'm the second to last baby. Family's really big for me. My younger sister, she's just got accepted into FAMU for architecture. My
Awesome.
my older sister, she's in her second semester of med school. So we're all really tightly knit. Really just a good family. Always hanging out on Christmas and stuff. But um, coming out of high school, was a two-star recruit. Played a little bit of running back in high school. I was decent. Whenever they needed me to get a touch, I'd get you about 5-10 yards.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
was a little bit under recruited out of high school though. Was only a two-star. Was all state my senior year, all state my junior year. But it kind of put a chip on my shoulder.
Did it?
Gary Downs, Josh Downs, and Caleb Downs' dad. He was the guy actually recruited me to ETSU. Him and Randy Sanders gave me a chance, and I'm very appreciative of them. So, January 2020, I early enrolled to East Tennessee State. COVID year, so everybody got another year for COVID, and then I
Right.
redshirted in 21. And in 22, I was a freshman All-American with, I think I had like 95, 99 tackles, a few TFLs, few sacks, and I was young. I was actually 17 for a week when I got to college. So I'm only 22 years old right now, coming off my fifth year of college. So still young. Um, After the freshman All American year, decided to transfer, continue to better myself as a player and a person, on and off the field. At the University of Memphis gave me a great opportunity to do that. So did some internships while I was at Memphis, got my marketing degree there.
Good. Good for you.
Halfway through my MBA as well. So very appreciative of my time at Memphis for sure.
That is awesome, man. So I'm reading your bio from Memphis, and they're talking about how you were an honor roll student in each of your 4 years in high school. And you went to Arabia Mountain High School. You played linebacker, as you said. You played running back.
Yep.
100+ tackles in 2019. One of the best players. I'm a little surprised you weren't more heavily recruited. What do you think? I mean, football obviously is a short-term career, and then everybody's got to have something. The fact that you've already got your degree, you're working on your master's. When football's done for you, what do you want to go into?
Yeah. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I
Okay.
remember when I was maybe 8 or 9 selling lemonade at yard stands and stuff.
That's awesome.
Just always been the one to find the quickest way to get the financial freedom for me. Um, Very big into real estate as well. I'll probably start working on my real estate license here soon since we have some free time.
Nice.
Just me doing my internships, I found out that I like dealing with people. I don't want to have a desk job or wherever I do. As long as I'm impacting people and I can inspire people, that'll work for me. So I'll probably have some real estate, some stocks, and whatever I can do to just inspire people. So that'll probably be what I do.
Well, that's awesome, man. The internships is such a great idea. It's funny. My dad, he's no longer with us, but he told me when I was in college, and I said, Dad, I don't know what I want to do. He's like, do internships.
Hmm.
Do an internship. And I wasn't sure I want to be in media, so I did one on a TV station, one on a radio station. But that is a great way to kind of figure out or like check things off that you maybe either do want to do or don't want to do.
Yeah.
You do an internship, you get an up close look at it. It sounds like you really benefited from some of the internships you did, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely figure out what I don't like.
Yeah.
I did one with our sports department, our athletic department, in the marketing sector, and then I did one for another company doing marketing. So it was really good. I'm very appreciative of Memphis just to give me that exposure for sure.
Now, how did you choose? First of all, how did you choose East Tennessee? And what town is East Tennessee State at? What school? Where in Tennessee is that?
It's the farthest east you can go is like in Johnson City, Tennessee. So like
Okay.
probably an hour from like Asheville, North Carolina. It's like up in the mountains. Like our stadium is the background. You can see mountains. So it's definitely up in the mountains. But coming out of high school, I had about 40 FCS offers. So it was a tough decision because both my parents going to Georgia. I wanted to go big time. I wanted to go play under the big lights, but
Sure.
it definitely humbled me, and it definitely gave me a chip on my shoulder to continue to work hard. Um, but shoot, even when I got there, I was expecting to be one of those guys like I'm coming in, I'm coming to play right away. There was an eighth year senior by the name of Jared Folks there, and it was his job locked down, but he just did a great job taking me under his wing and allowed me to excel my development even faster.
Well, let's talk about your game because, I started watching you. I caught you in a game early this year, and then I caught you in the bowl game. And in the bowl game, you had 17 tackles against
Yeah.
West Virginia. Talk about that game. I mean, and you had a number of high tackle games, but where does the West Virginia bowl game stand in your, in your list of greatest college games?
Oof.
That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good question. My dad told me something that really surprised me. He said every year I played college football, said I broke a record. So my redshirt freshman year, I had the first game I played was I broke the record for 23 tackles in like school history. And then this past year, or actually the year before in the Liberty Bowl against Iowa State, I broke the record for most tackles for loss in the game, which was 5 in the game. And then in the bowl game, I broke a record for that bowl, and then I tied the record for the most tackles. So I had something about those bowl games. It was just a great game, great atmosphere. Um, it was a chippy one though. We had to fight to the finish.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know like I had those many tackles. I was just trying to get us off the field, get our offense back on the field. But it's definitely one of my favorites. They had some good guys over there, some good players. So I was like competing at the highest level when I can. So it's definitely probably in my top 5 for sure.
I also caught you in the Florida State game. In that game, 8 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss. You got a sack. You had a fumble recovery, and
Yeah.
you guys beat Florida State.
Yeah.
How great was that night for you guys? Because I mean that seemed like it was not just a great night individually for you, Chandler. That was a great night for the Memphis program.
Oh yeah, that was a great win for us. Just to go into Florida State with all the culture and tradition they have, hearing the Seminole stuff, it was just really cool to even experience that, and to go get a win was even more, just more fulfilling for us. We had the utmost confidence going into that game. Nobody batted an eye, and we just trusted our game plan. So glad it worked out the way it did.
Well, man, you've gone from, 16-year-old graduate of high school to FCS to a star player who's going to be drafted. What's the spring been like for you? What has your pre-draft experience been like?
It's been really enjoyable. I was down in Fort Myers at X3 training. Jordan Llewellyn, he was the trainer. He did a great job training me, make sure I was prepared. Just been really enjoyable getting to kind of talk to some of the other guys who are going through the same process as well. Pick their brains, see what they did well in the season, see what they did bad in the season. Um, and it's also been my first little taste of being a pro. No classes, just me going in, getting the treatment after workouts, and just really managing myself. So I really been enjoying this time. Just been taking the time to reflect without football for a second. Probably took a week or two off. Didn't take too much time off, but now I've geared my head to watching NFL tape and really just enjoying this process as it goes. So,
What teams are showing the most interest? Is there anybody out there that's showing a ton of interest in you?
yeah, at the Shrine Bowl, I talked to 31 out of 32 teams. So I talked to
Okay.
just about all of them.
Yep.
Had some really great conversations with just about all of them. As of late, talking to the Commanders, talking to the Eagles, talking to the Saints, the Bills as well. I'm going to see the Falcons at the local day coming up on April 11th.
Nice.
So just been taking it in. really just trying to be in the moment with everybody I talk to and just enjoying the process.
I love watching you play because you play the game with, I would call it ferocious joy, right? I mean, you play with a lot of happiness. It seems like you really look like you love to play the game, but man, you're ferocious out there. And it seems like you're playing at like your standard is the standard that your defense plays to. What is your motivation to play? I mean, is it something that you've loved it forever, or some guys play for the love, some guys play for the money, some guys play for the glory, some guys play for the wins? What is your motivation?
For sure. I've been playing football since I was 5. I played linebacker and center, so those are my first 2 positions. Linebacker has always been my first love. Um, I feel like football is probably the only game you can be your true self out there on the field. Like, just where your passion shows, where you just play freely and really playing for one of your teammates as well. So I just love the game. I had a chance to play a lot of sports growing up. I played basketball, was tackling people in basketball. Baseball, got hit with the ball, didn't like that too much. Played soccer, lacrosse. Like, I did it all, and very appreciative of my parents to, one, have not missed a game, but 2, let me make the decision for my own. And I really just love football. Like, football was the main one that stuck for me. Just it's the ultimate team sport as well. Like, you get to do something bigger than yourself, and you get to have fun. Like, at the end of the day, you're playing a kid's game for a king's ransom. So, um, just playing the game, really, if I had to say the reason, just to be the best version of myself I could be. I know I've developed as I've gone. Like, every level, I've gotten better. So I'm just really excited to see the potential. Like, I want to leave no stone unturned. I want to be the greatest I can to my potential, and see where that takes me. So I just very appreciative of what the game is giving me.
You don't seem bitter at all, but you got snubbed and weren't invited to the combine. I mean,
Yeah.
how was that? Was that a bitter thing? I mention it because I'm looking at your pro day numbers. 4.55 is what you ran at the pro day. I think you could probably cut that to high 4.4s. You ran a 4.22 shuttle, a 6.85 3-cone, and for those who don't know those numbers, that would have been the best short shuttle and the best 3-cone among all the linebackers who were invited to the combine. You also had a 37-inch vert, which is well above average, and a 10.6 broad. How did you feel about not getting invited to the combine? It wasn't like you played at some tiny school. You played at Memphis, and it wasn't like you didn't play well. You played incredibly well. So to me, they did you wrong by not inviting you to the combine. Was that a bitter pill for you, or is that not a big deal?
Yeah, it was definitely tough for me, honestly. Being that kid watching the combine all the years, you definitely want to be there. My feelings was hurt for a little bit. Not gonna lie to you, being honest.
Yeah.
But I use it as fuel at the end of the day. Kind of put a bigger chip on my shoulder. Always been an underdog my whole life. I'm like, all right. I watched the combine twice. I see what the guys doing. I'm like, okay, this is how they're moving. This is how they're doing things. But really, just use it as fuel. Um, it's something I can't control at the end of the day, but just ready to control what I can control, using it more as a chip. And like Amara I was doing, I see those guys that were there, and I'm acknowledging them. So it's definitely more fuel for me, and something I use throughout my career probably.
Is there a linebacker in this draft that you've either gotten to know or that you've studied that you like their game and admire what they do? I mean, I think this is a spectacular draft for day 3 linebackers. And I had, yourself, Nick Martin, David Benda, Aaron Smith, Shamar James, Teddy Buchanan. There's a lot of Casey Osai. And there's some good linebackers for sure, and you're definitely one of them. Eugene Asante, I love Eugene Asante from Auburn. Have you got a chance to meet any of your fellow linebackers in this class?
Yeah, at the Shrine Bowl, I got a chance to meet a few of those guys. I like Teddy Buchanan. He was at the Shrine Bowl as well.
Yeah.
Really smart, really instinctual player. Also, Jackson Woodard is one of my favorites. Is why he came from UNLV.
Yeah.
He's just a really natural player. Good dude too. All those guys are really good dudes. Just people I'm excited to get to know throughout my career, and excited to compete with as we go along in our careers as well.
You mentioned the Shrine. I got to ask you, what was that week like? I mean, not only I used to do the sideline reporting for that game when that game was out here in California, and it's now I think in Frisco, Texas. But one of the coolest parts of that week is when the kids get a chance to be around you guys, and you guys get to be around the kids. And at first, I think it's like, oh, this is really benefiting the kids, and then by the end of the day, it's like, man, this is really benefiting the players as well.
Yeah.
What was your experience like? And was that something? Was that an uncomfortable situation? Was it comfortable? What was that whole experience like? It seems like that's a life-changing experience for a lot of players.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was a great time. Just want to thank Eric Galco for inviting me again. I enjoyed myself. Like the Shriner kids, they were super full of energy. Just great to be around. Like we're playing games, doing touchdown celebrations, hitting the gritty. Just real enjoyable. Like, and also just being around those high level players, those high caliber guys, just to see how they work, see how they operate, and be able to pick their brains. And it was just a great experience. Just another assuring moment for me to feel like I belonged. I knew what I was capable of, and I'm glad I was able to show what I could do throughout that whole week, and just enjoyed the whole process.
Well, that's awesome, man. You get more scouts, more notoriety, and you mentioned Teddy Buchanan. He went to my high school here in San Francisco, so I'm a big Teddy Buchanan fan. Linebacker. Let's talk about the position. Do you feel like you can play all three spots? Are you a weak side guy? Are you a middle linebacker? How do you look at the position as far as, are you scheme versatile? Does it matter 4-3, 3-4? Talk a little bit about where you think you fit linebacker wise.
Yeah, for sure. Throughout my career, I played just about every position. This past year, I was a Mike in our 3-3-5 defense. We were a little bit unconventional with a 3 high safety look.
Yeah.
So I played Mike all year there. My first year in 22, I was the Will in the 3-4 scheme, and then my junior year, I was the Will in the 4-3 scheme. So I was blessed to have enough versatility to play all those positions without much drop off. At the next level, I think I probably project more as a Will, but very capable of playing all three positions. And I take it as pride to learn all three positions for sure as well. Because I know last year we had a guy go down and they're like, all right, go to Mike. I'm like, all right, let's do it. It's nothing but just being able to. It's really a testament to my preparation. I feel like it's no position on the field I couldn't play. If they want me to roll me back to safety, all right, I can roll that. I can get in the back pedal for a little bit too. But just really feel like I'm one of the more versatile players in the class.
Doesn't it seem like linebackers changed? I mean, it seemed like, 20 years ago, you had the guys who were 260 and they got the big neck roll and they look like offensive guards. Now, man, it is such a movement game. You have to be able to move. Linebackers today look like strong safeties from 20 years ago. And if you can't cover, you can't play. It's as simple as that. Talk a little bit about the position, because you're 6 feet, 230 in that range, and
Yes.
Some people would say that's small for a linebacker, but if you look around the league, it really isn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the linebacker position has definitely changed over the years, from the big Brian Urlacher type of guys,
Yeah.
to now what the league has today. And just like you were saying, you have to be able to cover. If people feel like they can pick on you, they're going right at you, because everybody's a receiver in this game. Back in the day, it was also those big 230, 240 running backs as well. Now you have those Jameer Gibbs of the world and the Bijans and all those guys you have to stop, Christian McCaffreys. So you have to be versatile enough to be able to cover those guys, and also physical enough to fit in the run. So I think that's one of the biggest parts of my game that I'm proud of. One, my sideline ability, but also my ability to be able to cover somebody and be sticky with those guys. And also another thing for me, I think it's a really instinctual game at linebacker now. I feel like I'm one of the most instinctual guys in this class, natural football player, and just one of those guys. I feel like I see it before the play happens. So having that skill can really elevate you in the league today too.
Nobody gets nobody gets anywhere by themselves, right? I mean, we all have help, right? Our parents help us, our friends help us. There was a guy I got to ask you about, a Tennessee State linebacker named Jared Folks, who obviously helped you quite a bit. He was a 26-year-old senior, and you picked his brain, it sounds like, and
Yeah.
and understood that he had knowledge that you needed. Tell us a little bit about Folks and his impact on your career.
Yeah, Jared was a ball full of wisdom. He's been around the game a long time. He's he was a 6 or 7 year senior before those guys were a thing. Um, he was just really authentic. He was himself. Appreciate him for taking me under his wing like he did, and just not holding back the knowledge. Some guys may be like, "Oh, he's coming up. Let me not tell him." But he was one of those guys that was really transparent. Really allowed me to learn from him. He was around it. He's still around it now. I think he's a college coach now. But just from the how to read the triangle to taking my drops, he was really knowledgeable in those things, and I asked him every bit of it. So very appreciative for him for just allowing me to pick his brain.
When I watched your film, the first thing I saw was the athleticism, but after I watched a number of snaps, it was really obvious that your football IQ is off the charts. You're an intelligent player on the field, off the field. I know you're a leader on that Memphis team. I just watching the film, I can see you diagnosing things before they happen, and bringing that physical nature to the game. But how much film work did you guys get a chance to do? Because film work in the pro level is just such a staple of your preparation. How much film did you guys watch at Memphis and at East Tennessee?
We tore the film up.
Yeah.
That's what we did. Every Monday, I would bring our front seven guys, and we would watch the run game without the coaches, just the guys who really play. We would break it down by ourselves just to see what we may see that the coaches might not pick up. Me personally, it's always watching film, downloading the film before you get on the plane, or watching in the room in the bed with your feet kicked up. Just really understanding who you're playing, because I feel like at the end of the day, you're playing players, not X's and O's. So watching the plays is one thing, but watching the people is really the next step of it for me. That one thing I learned and developed throughout this past year. Just watching who I'm playing, like watching if the running back's looking around before he's in pass pro, maybe give me a run pass tail, or
Right.
If the center or guard's leaning before he pulls or something like that. All those things are evident because everybody has habits they do. So just being able to break stuff like that down and see it and acknowledge it in the game, then go make a play is really a big skill of mine.
Yeah, no, you pegged it. I mean, it's those tiny little things on the film. You notice the guard is deep set a little bit, and he's slow footed, so he's going to try to get around that corner. And you see a deep setted guard, you know there's a good chance he's going to pull around the side. And there's little things like that the film will show you. Consistency seems to be a big theme when I'm looking at your bio, your game. How important do you think consistency is overall to being a good linebacker, being a good football player for that matter?
Consistency is everything.
Yeah.
Being able to be trusted by your coaches that was one of the first things I emphasized on, even when I first got to Memphis. Just not having any missed assignments. Like if I have no missed assignments, and they just coach me how to play football, not how to be in the right spot. So consistency equals trust. So regardless of what level, regardless of what occupation, if you're inconsistent, you're gonna end up fired or you're gonna not be doing a good job of what you're doing. So just working to be consistent, working to be disciplined in my habits, or making sure I'm getting in the ice tubs every day. That's the big thing. And
yeah,
just being consistent always comes down to being trusted. So if I can be consistent in everything I do, I can be more trusted with the bigger role or whatever I'm asked to do. So
rest and recovery, it's a big part of the game. How about Fred Warner, man? I do Niner pre and post. I would love to see you playing next to Fred Warner. Have you studied Fred Warner at all for the Niners? And did you have did the Niners reach out? Have you had any connection at all with them?
Yeah, Fred Warner's a baller. I watched him a lot. Just he's probably the most elite coverage backer in the league. Just really instinctual, takes command of the defense. Big fan of his game. I watched him in Greenlaw before Greenlaw got hurt. And then I watched D. Winters as well, so I know about those Niners backers for sure.
Yeah, that's good knowledge of their. I mean, to name D. Winters, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you have a meeting with the Niners at all, or do you remember
Yeah.
any meeting with them?
Yeah, I met with the Niners at the Shrine Bowl. We talked football. Just really talked about my strengths and weaknesses and what they think, how they think I fit, and it was good conversations with those guys. So,
any round that you feel like you're pegged for? I'm thinking the first round of day 3. I'm thinking round 4 is where I see you coming off the board. But I've heard other people say 3. I've heard some people say 5 or 6. What are you hearing?
I'm hearing early day 3, like really early day 3, and just really excited to be hear my name called. That would be a blessing, and it is. So I'm not gonna put too much weight on that for me, honestly.
Yeah.
I just know what I'm gonna bring when I do get my name called or wherever I go. So just excited to even be in that opportunity.
2 last ones. 11. Where does the number come from? Why 11? Did you wear 11 at East Tennessee?
Yeah, I did.
Why do you rep 11?
In high school I wore 10.
Okay.
Didn't put too much thought to it initially. 11 was open at ETSU. My birthday is on December 11th.
Nice.
My mom made that correlation. I just always liked number 11. I wore it when I was maybe 13 or 14 as well. Just love the number, honestly. Love how the 11s, the ones line up in the jersey. And my birthday's on December 11th, so that could be some correlation for sure.
All right, awesome. And running back wise, this is an awesome running back draft. And I got to imagine as a linebacker, you got a pretty good sense of who the best backs are. I mean, who of the running backs that you went against in your career, any of them stand out? Any of them stand out as like, whoa, man, that's the best back I've gone against?
I got to give a shout out to my running back in this class, Mario Anderson.
Oh, he's a beast.
He's on my team. Yeah, he's a good player. But my junior year, we played Ashton Genty, so I got a chance to hit him one-on-one a few times. Really strong. He has a really strong lower half. Respect his game a lot for sure. But let's see, Henderson from Ohio State is one that I watched. Yeah, he's a good player. Really balanced runner, can do it all. Have a lot of respect for his game for sure.
Let's talk about your guy for a second, Mario.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a full running start where Mario had a full running start and you had a full running start? Because what does he weigh? I mean, he's a freaking bow-legged. He is a power. That guy runs with some serious power. That's a man running the football there. Have you and him banged heads in practice pretty good?
Yeah, we did have a few good thuds for sure.
Yeah.
He's a real fiery energy guy. Big fan of his as well. Me and him knew it was up. So as the season got on a little bit later, like, all right, bro. But definitely in training camp, we definitely had our times going at each other. He's really intense, and we definitely got each other better. So I think he's one of the best running backs in this class as well.
Well, Chandler, I'll say it right now, and I'll say it with my chest puffed out. You are one of the best linebackers in this draft. I got nothing but total belief that you're going to be a great NFL player, man. Absolutely great. Thank you for the time. What are you going to do on draft night, or draft weekend, I should say? It for Thursday night, Friday night, day 2, Saturday morning, day 3. What's is the Martin family going to gather around? You got big plans, small plans. Some guys want to do something real quiet. Other guys want to have a big party and lots of people. Yeah. What's your plan?
I've never been the biggest party guy. I'm sure my mom will want to get something together. She's one of the planners, but I'll probably do something at the house. Probably not too many people, but just have a few of my close family and friends with me. But I'm sure I promise you my mom will have something set up grand. So
there you go. We'll finish it on this note. John Lynch, if you're watching, this guy, John Lynch.
For sure.
This guy right here, Chandler Martin, John Lynch. Put this guy next to Fred Warner. You will be very, very happy you did. Chandler, awesome stuff, man. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you. As I said, man, I have a total belief that you're not just going to be good or very good. I think you're going to be a great NFL player. And thanks for coming on the Krueg Show. We wish you nothing but success in your NFL career. And if the Niners draft you, we got to get you back in here and chop it up and talk some Niner ball and look ahead to the season. But fired up for your career, man. And thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you having me again.
Chandler Martin from the University of Memphis, the Memphis Tigers, one of the best linebackers in the 2025 NFL draft. We'll continue with more. It's the Krueg Show on YouTube.